Welcome back to the Trenchless Table, guys. It's been a little bit of time for me, at least. You guys is a couple of podcasts without me, but my name is Lee Drugan. I've got Cole Andrews, Dustin Schlachter across the table, and we've got a special guest today, truly in the trenchless industry. This season has always been about the trenchless industry, but season one was more about leadership and the next generation. We still might touch on that a little bit here with our guest ties to the youth athletic program, having kids in the school system, and himself growing up in the industry. So without further ado, Jeremy Herman joins us at the table today. Welcome, Jeremy.
Hi, Lee.
Jeremy, I'll give you a quick intro. Nothing too formal. So Jeremy's with S&S Directional Boring, sister company to everything that we have going on here. Jeremy's director of operations, a husband, father, a ball coach like Lee mentioned, and 26 years. Man, you're old. 26 years plus whatever high school activities were going on back in the day in the construction space.
And we can only talk about your legal employment. So nothing, I mean, if you were 10, 11, 12 working on the construction site, we can't talk about that stuff.
It's probably was before that, Lee. Probably when I was 5 or 6 with my dad building houses up around the lake and that. Yeah. I know I fell off a ladder at 5 and put a nail in my back. So it was a long time ago.
Yeah. Is it always something that you're like, when you were little, were you playing with construction trucks and diggers, excavators, all that kind of stuff, like little toy Tonka trucks?
Yeah, pretty much like every boy.
Okay.
Yep.
So now you're growing up and doing it in real life.
Yep, absolutely.
It's kind of the dream. Let's stay there, though, if you don't mind. Your upbringing and how you always liked construction. You always liked dirt and things like that. How did you get to school into working construction? What did that look like? What did the path look like?
Early on, I mean, one of the things that I liked to do when we were younger was I started golfing. So then we moved I asked the Rob Rosebrook that owned the golf course about a job when I was a 6th grader maybe. And yep, he hired me and started mowing. And then I mowed for a couple of years, and then my stepdad's like, well, we need a guy at work. So I started working for Larry King over in Pettisville, and that's kind of the industry we're in now, in the trench, putting water lines in, stuff like that. And then it just evolved to more. And I knew early on that school, I was not a fan of school. I just didn't enjoy it. I was probably the class clown. I know I was. You can ask all my friends that I still talk to. I was definitely the class clown. But I knew right away that I wasn't going to college, and I was just going to hang with my buddies. And I didn't know where I was going to go. I thought I'd be building houses with my dad or in the dirt world with my stepdad. And then my dad sold his business, so I kind of had to go to the dirt side of things. And then I actually didn't do that. I started as an electrician right at the first day out of school. I didn't even take a day off. Started in the electrical side of things and didn't like that. And then I ended up getting hired at Miller Brothers in Archbold. I was 19 and was there for 23 to 26 years until the opportunity popped up here with Dustin.
And I think that job, let's go there for a second, probably one of the big jobs you started running. We came up and drilled some pipe for you guys in it was the Kalahari, right?
Yep.
It was a blank slate before Kalahari was Kalahari.
Yep.
And I think that was what,
That was 2004 and 2005.
were we that old?
We were not very old.
And that was a big job for a 23-year-old to be running. That was
Yeah.
quite a sight job.
Well, it's funny because the guy, he just was downstairs right before I come up there looking for a test ball to use on a job on the other side of town. And I remember the conversation. It was November of 2002, and Steve says, hey, we want to set you up for a 5-year program, I guess. We're going to turn you into a superintendent or a foreman, whatever they call them. I said, yeah, perfect. Who doesn't want to grow, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, we all want to grow. So that was in November. In March of 2003, Miller Brothers, where I was working at, they were picking up a lot of site work. And the Meyer store in Perrysburg we picked that job up, and he calls and says, hey, you know that 5-year plan? Yeah. He goes, how about 5 months? I'm like, what are you talking about? So I built a $3.5 million Meyer store that 2003, and then 2004 is when we went to Kalahari.
Yeah, our portion was very small of that. I think we just had to get across the road. So directional drilling at that stage for that project was we just need water across the road part. And, but, I mean, who doesn't love big iron? So I got to the site and I was like, oh, wow, this is cool. And all we had to do is get the water line across, and then we were out.
2004, we'd have been what, 22, 23?
23?
Yeah. I think at the peak out there, I had 50 operators and probably 45 operators and 4 or 5 laborers working for us.
Yeah.
So
What kind of points to what we always talk about here as there can be an age gap in the trades, but it's almost a beautiful one because there's opportunity of young blood at that time, maybe some new ideas, definitely some energy, maybe a couple other things that you guys brought to the table, all working symbiotic with older dudes, older gals, getting it done, coordinating, operating, and communicating at a high level, obviously. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been that 5-year to 5-month plan. But at the same time, it points to the second point is there's growth and opportunity in this space that sometimes 5 years turns to 5 months very quickly. And I didn't know that part of your story at all.
Yeah.
But I always say around here, somebody's like, hey, how is it over there? So the good outweighs the bad, and man, there's growth opportunities everywhere. And I know I'm not lying. I know I'm telling them the absolute God's honest truth every single time.
Well, you say that, and I tell my kids that all the time. You can take yourself as far as you want. And I actually just had a call about an hour ago with, he's finishing up his first year of college, and he's coming back to work for us this summer. And he has a friend that he's in a bad spot, and he's trying to figure out what he wants to do. And I said, well, it's Carter. I was talking to Carter Dominic. I said, Carter, I don't know what's going on, but we've had a run of applications and resumes in the last month. And he goes, we're out there now. Like, people want to work for S&S now. Yeah. He goes, that's what's happening right now is you guys have done what you've done over the last couple of years to get your name out there, and everybody wants to either work for S&S or the ART side, so that's why they're coming. And the kid that he's talking about, I don't want to say any names, but like, he has no construction background, but he's interested in coming to work for us. So that's kind of exciting for us.
Sometimes the blank slate, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say that. Go.
Sometimes the blank slate is the best, right? These young guys, they don't know anything, but they know they're young, they're full of vinegar, they've got energy, they just haven't been taught. We grew up with dads doing it and seeing it, and just, hey, it's kind of an expectation, just tag along, and you learn by osmosis of just being on the job site, hanging out. Hey, hand me a 2x4 or go get me a hammer. But then I think that's still there. I think these young people just don't know the opportunities, and they're still hard workers. They still want to get after it. They're still good, hard-working people everywhere. I think this young generation gets a bad rap when they say, we can't find any good workers. They're not everywhere. I can't, I can't get people to come to work for us. I think that they're barking up the wrong tree and have the wrong expectation. They need trained. They may not know anything, but they want to learn, and they'll work hard.
Yeah, and a lot of it's just communication style. Communication for you guys when you were 23 on the job site looked very different than what it does now, right?
It did.
Oh, yeah.
It did. I mean, it wasn't quite etched in stone.
Yeah.
Out there with a chisel, but texting wasn't really a thing back then for you guys.
A little more loud, a little more brash.
We had the Nextels, right?
Yeah, flip phones. You could.
I go
text-
back there to Heartbeat.
Yes.
Can we bring Nextels back?
You could text under the table because you knew what the numbers 3 here, 2 there.
They're talking about when your phone would just beep in your pocket, and then someone would start talking.
Loudspeaker.
And it was so
like a
cool.
walkie-talkie almost.
Hey, you
like
there?
walkie-talkie.
Yeah.
My family. Hey, Brad, you there?
Yep.
At dinner, at whatever. Hey, you at the golf course, teeing off. Hey, Brad, you there? Mother. What?
Well, and I think a lot of this, 18 to, let's say, 30 generation, the parents were all, not all of them, because we're not, but we could have kids that are that old. But most of them thought college was the way that they had to go. And if that's how they're brought up, that's fine. And there's still enough of them that think that way. But it's changing because houses are more expensive and they don't want to go to college. They don't want to go into debt. They want to buy a house eventually. So, yeah, I think that's more opportunities.
And I think you're going to see a lot more young people coming to these types of trades, even if they do go to college, like you're talking about with a couple of friends of Carter's coming to work or whatever. I think you're going to see that more. Mm-hmm. I think they're going to spend time in the summer times where, when we went to college, it was like summer's off, whatever, it's my last chance to be young. I worked through college, but there were a lot of people who didn't. And I don't think that that's going to be a thing now. I think it's more and more people are going to be like, yeah, I'm here for Christmas break. I'm here for whatever. Is there any type of work? And it's kind of the perfect job for these young guys, young girls who want to learn about construction just in case, have a fallback plan, make some good money in the off season. And luckily for the construction industry, summer is usually an uptick for us, right? In business. Yep. So we need people.
So talking about work, let's get into S&S. Let's get into, we talked a second ago, we don't love titles. I think we'd all probably appreciate that. But what does Director of Operations, what does it look like for S&S in your day-to-day? And what's on your plate?
Well, it's changed over the last month since we've tried to expand into our dirt side of things. Open cut.
Wait. You heard it here first. Is this an announcement? This is the announcement.
Press release.
Oh,
this is the press release.
This is the announcement.
S&S is going trench more.
Trench sometimes.
Trench when needed.
Welcome to the kind of trenchless table, kind of not.
We might have
table.
We might own a dozer one of these days here pretty soon too.
I'm gonna up a car with a dozer, dude.
Let's go.
I saw one the other day. It was like a D11, but probably a build wit, and it just took a Tahoe and just flattened it. It was so cool.
Yeah, welcome back to the dozer table.
We will not own a D11, Cole.
Huge. But on a real note,
I'm with you, Cole. It would be cool to own one.
D11 or the Raptor, one of them.
We should own one of them.
One's coming.
If the price tag was the same, we'd own them both, but they're not.
That's true.
On a real note, let's get into that for a second.
Yeah.
We'll come back to Director of Operations, or maybe not, because that sounds boring. I want to know more about S&S at its core has been, and you can definitely get into this, has been trenchless technology through and through. It was called, and it still is to this day, directional boring, and that's bread and butter was the only work that started. I think if I remember correctly, cutting teeth was fiber.
Yep,
and
fiber
then
cable.
Getting into, whoever needs the water line, put the 15 yards underneath the road or whatever it might have been.
Yep.
But now it's blossomed into pipe bursting and hydro excavation, et cetera, multiple crews. And then come 2026, we're into a whole new division of site work, site development.
Not division, group.
A whole new group. Sorry. There's no division here, baby. A whole new group, and I do like that, the vernacular. Site work, trench, more. Of open cut excavation. So what does that look like?
Well, my 23 years before here was a lot of dirt, and when you have a vision, the way that Dustin has a vision, when we got together, it was like the perfect storm. Todd was getting ready to retire, so Dustin's like, well, this will work. But I want to push it. I want more. I'm like, all right, what's more mean? I want 30% growth every year. I'm like, okay, we can do that. The first year we hit it. Second year we were really close. Last year, we did better than the year before, but we didn't get 30%. And the directional drilling side, if we want to stay within our hour and a half range of Bryan, Ohio, we can only go so big because there's so many people getting into this industry that there's a lot of competition now. Yeah. So I said, I know if we get into the dirt work or the open cut work, we can see that growth. I said, we just need the right guys. So it took us 3 years to find the right guys, or, an estimator, project manager. The first piece fell, and then the second piece fell, and then a third piece fell to help us start this next group to get us to where we want to go. We're not there. We're still trying to get there. It's been a month and a half now.
Yeah, got full-time estimator on board that has that space pretty well locked down on a knowledge and experience in January. And so, yeah, since January, it's moved fast. So we're just ended first quarter, and by all intents and purposes, they've got a vision. They see it. It's going to happen. And so there should be a couple excavation crews running, and it rounds out what we're doing. So when we do directional drilling, we're really good at it. And there's just pieces of that we can't do collectively, or we can't do corporately right now, but collectively by adding this, it just opens up the opportunity for more projects that we can be turnkey on, where we're not a sub, or now we're the GC, we're doing all operations start to finish. And so that'll be a good addition to what we're trying to accomplish here.
Yep.
What did that planning look like? What was it? Was it calculated? Was it years and years of spreadsheets or anything? Or what did it genuinely look like? I'm curious.
You're really asking me that question, Cole?
I know
You
some
know
of the answer. I
to
know the
this.
answer. But I think pulling back that curtain, business is ugly sometimes, and it's not as polished as you think it may be.
We were probably sitting around on a Thursday afternoon at like 2:30, and we go, hey, we should think about doing this. I don't think we had a spreadsheet at all.
We did not.
But unfortunately, the way I operate is very off the hip. We should go this direction. And fortunately, Jeremy's got the experience and knowledge, and everybody trusts that to go, yeah, we should try that. And then the pieces of the puzzles, we couldn't force the puzzles to come together. So we were looking for the right person to help in the office. And then we got lucky by a couple dominoes falling together. And so part of it was being open-minded to the opportunity. And then when opportunity showed up, we talked about it, and it's, yeah, we should do this. And now's the time. If it's not now, it'll probably be never. And that's kind of how it, I don't know. It's kind of how it went.
Pretty much, yeah, that's pretty much how it went.
I wish there was a spreadsheet.
But to Jeremy's point, I mean, I've seen more drills on the road in this area, out on the highways, than I've ever seen in my life. I've only ever, I mean, up to 5 years ago, I've only ever seen them in the yard here, or out on County Road 17 before we moved to town. So I've never, the influx is there definitely, and I think you hit the buzzword, that turnkey idea. I imagine it becomes so much easier, so much more tangible to go into an engineer's office with a presentation that says, hey, we got you from start to finish. You give us a blueprint of what you're looking to do, and we'll tell you how we're going to do it, and give us a budget of what we could stay with. And in the end, opportunities are endless from there, I imagine.
And we're seeing a lot of bigger projects around that in the years past, if we'd come in, or S&S would come in and do a one bore, 500 foot long, Jimmy's excavating or Johnny's excavating over here will dig a hole for us on one end and then dig a hole on the other end. It's easy. That's all they have to do. But now there's, let's say, 3,000 feet. So every 500 to 600 feet, we need a hole. They don't want to commit a guy to us the whole time. So if we can give them a total package for that whole thing compared to someone else that doesn't want to do that, it's a lot easier for us to pick up work that way. So it's kind of nice. And like he said, we do it anyways. We might as well do it all.
Yeah.
So how does that work now with planning for you guys? So normally you would subcontract. This division is all part of, is it going to be the same crews? Is it going to be new crews running new equipment? What does that look like for you guys?
Well, we can't slow down on the boring side. We have 8 crews on the boring side, about 40 guys, give or take 5. I see us needing to add probably 2 crews by the end of the year. Our goal is 3. We don't know how the summer is going to go, but we're definitely going to have to add guys.
So as you're planning out those job sites, it's going to be, we got a boring crew going to this job site. I'm also going to need
Connection crew.
John's crew to take.
Yep.
And just so you know, we can never hire a Johnny or
Johnny gets a lot of flack around here.
Johnny's the example.
Is the example. Good, bad, or indifferent.
Johnny gets hired. He gets called by his middle name.
We are definitely going to have a nickname for Johnny. Well, and we got a lot of experience in the directional drilling space already that they've came from open cut or site work and things like that. So the good thing about what has happened over the last few years, and we are continuing to push the gas on, is we have guys that are flexible and they can work on lots of different things. So it's not the same every day for them. Now, some of them may think that it's been monotonous and the same, doing just water services, but that's a high demand. There's a lot of those out there. So there's a lot of diversification, and we have a lot of opportunities where we can just grab a guy or two out of the mix, and it's not going to change the flow of what's happening out there. So we just need to add a couple resources that have certain key experiences that we're looking for to make all this happen. So there's space for those new guys that don't know anything, and then there's space for those guys that are highly experienced and experts in the dirt space to be able to just roll this up fairly easily.
So what does that first job look like? What's the perfect job to kick off everything?
The one that's going to pay.
One's going to pay. That's true. That's a good one.
Well, right now we're trying to get into some little road jobs. In my opinion, the perfect job would be a site job, about 5 to 10 acres, pipe work, dirt work, stone, parking lot. But we're out there looking right now. We actually priced a job over in the neighboring town a couple weeks ago and found out today they're going to give us a contract for it tomorrow. So that's kind of our first win for this group. But there's so many different options out there that's what that first job looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So first job, obviously we're getting new people involved here. You need them. So you had the standard might waver a little bit just because we need bodies to get things moving. But what does that perfect new hire look like today? Maybe different than what looked like 10, 20, 15 years ago. What's the perfect new hire look like today?
Well, a leader, right? I mean, that's what we push
100%.
every week is leadership every Thursday morning.
Well, and it seems like there's a good growth opportunity right now in this.
Oh yeah.
This section of this new part of the business.
Anyone that wants to learn and get knee deep in mud every day and learn what we do and show our leader or our top guys what they want to do. I mean, that's anyone that wants to get dirty has a chance to grow. But if you're the guy that stands back and just kind of lets everyone do the work, then you're probably not in the right industry for us. I mean, not saying that you're not in the right industry, but you can tell the guys that want to grow and the guys that are just happy coming to work.
Mm-hmm.
If Johnny gets the nickname Pockets, that's probably not the guy we want because he's got his hands in his pockets too often.
Yep.
So that's not what we want, but a leader. That's people that can lead people. Got a few years of experience, but also still have a hunger to learn and grow and just the drive to be successful.
And I would think you'd have to have a bit of thick skin coming in onto a construction crew.
Oh yeah, the construction industry is brutal when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Like guys don't care what they say, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I like it.
and
Personally.
the thing about it is now it is, and you could probably agree, 20 years ago, and a lot of people would agree that 20 years ago it was a lot worse than it is now.
Oh yeah.
I mean, when I was 21, 22, running guys that were in this, running dozers and pans and everything for longer than I've been alive, yeah, that was not much fun. But when you show up every day and you are confident in what you're telling these guys to do every day and how to build a job, that works real quick. Like they earn or I guess you earn their respect, and things can go well soon. But you don't want to come in and think you know everything, because it's going to make it a lot worse than what you want it to be.
That's a great piece of advice for young guys wanting to come into the construction industry.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up, I never worked on a crew, but I grew up around a lot of construction sites doing marketing early on in my career. So my whole marketing career has been growing up in construction industry. I was not able to be a typical marketing person on a job site. I had to know a lot about the construction side of things. But I also learned that there's still plenty for me to learn. I was just out on the S&S job site in Bryan and talking to the guy about how I needed him to put his hard hat on so I could take a picture of him, because it's not illegal to not have your hard hat. It's not against, because he was on the rig and enclosed. It was fine. But just for me to get things through safety, it's a lot easier if you just have your hard hat on, whatever you're doing on the job site. So if you guys are watching this, put your hard hats on whenever I come on site. Makes it a lot faster and I can get out of your hair. But I needed him to get his hard hat on. So I needed to kind of shoot with him for a minute. So I had him teach me about all the stuff on the computer that he was reading, how he knew depth and all that stuff. And I tell you what, I walked away learning a ton from that. Stuff that I never knew. And the fact that, he likes to see the numbers of it. I'm more of a visual person, so I liked the 3D view of like the bore path, and I was asking him how he knew where he was at underground and what all of that stuff meant. So learning every day going to those job sites.
That's perfect, because when I was younger, or still now, guys ask, well, how can I learn how to run a drill, or how can I learn how to run the excavator or the skid loader? I said, just watch.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just watch what they do, and, that goes a long ways. So just watching, and you don't have to always talk about it, but just sit back and watch. If you're not doing something, watch.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes a big difference.
Yeah, and we host a lot of high school kids coming in and career opportunities for them to see what this industry is about. Normally Cole and I are leading that up or planning it, and we try to get as much hands-on as we can in those events because we want them to run an excavator. We want them to, try to get closest to the egg or whatever we do, something fun for them to actually pull the joysticks, because a lot of these guys they're gamers, and there's not too much off from gaming and running construction equipment nowadays.
There's actually one, random thought is there's actually one of the CCTV trucks that's built with the PlayStation controller.
Shut up.
That's awesome.
100% is the
I gotta see
PlayStation
that.
controller that runs the camera. And it, to your point,
Yeah.
you grow up on a game, same controller, just multifunction.
That's funny.
I mean, they're pushing air traffic controllers right now. Like that's the big thing in the news right now is if you're a gamer, the next move for you is to be an air traffic controller. Well, I'm telling you, you can probably go into construction too.
Yeah,
Learn how to run some big equipment.
absolutely.
Go back for a second if we could. Leadership is such a broad stroke of a word. If we could kind of drill it down, just give some examples of what a construction crew leader looks like. What are some intangibles that they bring to the table that somebody that wouldn't be deemed a leader just doesn't have? What do you mean when you say we're looking for leaders?
You got to be confident, right? You can't. That's a big one. You can't come into a meeting and just lay down, I guess. And then you have to lead the team. So if you're not confident in leading your team towards the goal, it's not going to work, right? Can't have an ego. Like egos will definitely kill the crew. That's two of the main ones that I can think of.
Yeah, and you got to have be able to have a vision.
Vision, yeah.
So you're confident, but then you're confident because you know the plan, right? And you can see 2D, 3D. You know the path of where you're going. So then you got to have enough experience to know the road you're going down, what you're going to cross, what you've got to deal with, not just in the next hour, but in the next week. And how do we get there successfully, quickly? And how do you guide that? And knowing builds confidence. Confidence builds experience, or experience builds confidence. And then when you got the experience to say, no, hey, this is why we got to do this, then people respect it. And they will follow ad nauseum, even if it might be wrong. But honestly, I'd rather somebody make a wrong decision moving forward, trying, than sit down and say, I don't know what to do right now. So I'd rather do nothing than make a decision. No decision is the wrong decision.
And I think having an understanding of that, not saying that you have to be perfect at it, because nobody's ever going to be perfect at that, but having an understanding of the fact that the way you approach a situation is how everybody's going to react will make things run smoother, will give people the, because you want leaders underneath leaders too. You want people who can make decisions all the way down the chain. And if they feel comfortable in doing that, knowing that their leader, no matter what's going on, is going to control that weather, is going to make it positive, is going to make a clear path forward, I think gives them that that comfortable feeling of making those decisions then.
You know, we've been pushing, I know Dustin, we've talked about it a bunch, but we have, to our 7 or 8 foremen, superintendents, whatever we want to call them, we want them to train their replacement. And that's not in a bad way. I mean, you can say that, train your replacement, but that's only because if we can train someone to take your job, that means you can step up to do another job.
Yeah.
So, and Lucas, our one foreman superintendent, I think he just said something the other day, last week, because he's been kind of going to another job and trying to finish up. So he's on 2 jobs. And we asked, well, how's it going that you're away from the guys? He goes, honestly, I think they're better without me there because they know what they got to get done, so they just get it done. I think I'm getting in their way more than I'm not. And we're like, that's what we've been trying to say for a couple of years is you need to step away to help them grow. And and sometimes it just takes that little moment to figure that part out.
Yeah, that self-awareness is huge, though.
Yeah, it is.
Because that self-awareness, it blossoms from there, and then the next guy maybe obtains that, or just from osmosis of conversation, Lucas to another guy in the same adjacent position. Oh, maybe am I getting in the way? Not in a totally negative, demonstrative way, but maybe I do need to kind of take the training wheels off or let the leash loose a little bit longer, a little bit further, only knowing that I've done the prerequisite work, only knowing that I've equipped them to make decisions properly, make them quickly, make them concisely, call in at this time for these sort of things. When I know I've done the prep work, I can let the training wheels off and see what happens. Maybe we fail, but at least let's fail forward. And so that's really encouraging to hear, especially, I mean, Lucas is one of our more tenured guys here.
19 years.
19 years,
Incredible. So
and he's growing leaps and bounds right now. He sends us,
Saturday, he sent us a book.
He sent us a book. Hey, guys, read this. That's the 2nd or 3rd time he's done that. Yep. So he's out there learning. He's growing. He's putting the work in himself to get better, to become a better leader. It's something that you got to work on, right? We don't just grow up and go, I got this. I'm a good leader today. How do you get there? How do you guide people if you don't take in information? And he's doing a great job with it. He's taking in a ton of content, trying to learn, trying to grow, become a better leader through audiobooks. And it's really encouraging when guys are out there, gals are out there sharing what they're learning. I love it. It's fun to watch.
Yeah, he gets excited when he sends us a book. I know it's been at least 3 times.
Yep.
But we've told him too, sometimes you have to slow down to go faster. And that's another one of those analogies that's hard to understand. But as soon as you slow down, Lucas, and do some of this stuff, you guys will pick up the pace, right? Because he wants to do everything. He wants to be in the hole and he wants to dig at the same time in the excavator. Well, it doesn't work, right? So he's understanding that. So it's fun to see his growth.
They say it's a muscle. Leadership is a muscle. And it can grow the more you use it, et cetera, but just vice versa, it can decrease. And I'm sure we've seen that over the years here as well. But you can't be in the hole and digging at the same time.
Safety is watching this. Didn't happen. He's just using that as an analogy. I want to jump into some job specific stuff, Jeremy, if you don't mind, because a lot of the people who are tuning in are probably construction people. They like to talk about jobs. So what has been your favorite job that you've been a part of, whether you're working on a crew or leading it from your seat, however you want to look at it? What's been your favorite job?
Since I've been here or over my 26 years?
Either one, whatever you want to pick.
I'll give you both. How's that?
That's great.
I think
great for content.
the best job ever of my career was we built an Amazon in Detroit right when COVID hit. And I don't know, I want to say we made 40 to 50% on that job, moved a lot of dirt, but there was about 3 or 4 of us that brainstormed for a good month on how we could do this project, because we had to, where the old Silver Dome sat was a hole and they just pushed dirt in there. So we had to put like 20 feet of dirt on it and let it just settle. And if it sunk, you had to put more weight on. And then we moved the dirt. We were supposed to move the dirt twice. We ended up only moving it once because we hauled all the stone in to do another section. And just brainstorming between 3 or 4 of us it was fun to see that job come together. Since I've been at S&S, the best job or the funnest job I had was, it was right when we started that solar farm up in Fayette that Todd looked at me and said, "Are you sure you want to do this?" I said, "Why not?" And that helped us grow because we got a call about some borers that a company had started, but then they started the open cut. They were digging the wires in and they weren't compacted properly. And this company that called us says, "Can you help us with some bores?" Yep. So we went up and met them. I said, "Well, we can do the open cut section as well if you'd like." I think it ended up being like 36,000 feet.
Always be selling.
Oh, yeah. Hey, relationships.
Amen.
That's what this industry is about, is relationships. But we ended up putting, 36,000 feet of trench. I don't remember how many bores we ended up doing, probably 15 or 18 bores. And now they call us twice a year to price other solar farms. Mm-hmm. So that was a fun one because it was kind of out of our sweet spot. Mm-hmm. And it kind of opened our eyes that we knew we could do more, but we did more.
Now, are you just on like the big stuff, or are you doing residential work as well? And what would a residential job look like for you guys, for people who maybe don't know? So
Kevin downstairs, he does 90% of the 4-inch and down to say 3/4. Mm-hmm. Residential would be 1-inch water line, maybe a forest main sewer that needs to go under a driveway, small stuff like that. He takes care of most of that. If I get an email, I'll throw it together real quick so he doesn't have to. But I concentrate on the 4-inch up to the 30-inch, which we've priced one 30-inch job. 24 is probably the biggest we ever want to go. Mm-hmm. But we've had a call that since we have such a good standing in the industry on what we do, we had a call and we became highly recommended for some big pipe on a project. Nice. 30-inch. So to what Todd and Dustin has done over the years, helped us get in that door. So yeah, that's kind of where it is. I fit in wherever I can, help whoever we can.
Now, are you seeing any influx with anything on the data centers or anything like that? That there are big talks right now in Ohio about data centers.
I was actually at the data center today and met with a company about this open cut vision we have. Mm-hmm. And we said, well, we have 9 vac trucks as well. He goes, "You do?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "I have 26 here every day. How many more can you get me?" I said, "All right, I'll get you a number when I get back to the office." So, that's part of it. Yeah. Relationships. Andrew downstairs is kind of what we call our business development. He's a project manager, but I've tasked him with getting out to talk to people. Mm-hmm. And that was one talk we had today to open up more eyes to what we can do. And we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, because when boring's in the name, you probably assume, right?
Yeah.
Not that we need to rebrand or anything, but it does come down to getting the chatter out,
right?
Getting the news. Like, have you heard the good news?
Right.
And then going from there.
So we're S&S. You got the ART guys downstairs. Not nobody. More people that we talk about don't know that we're one than that do.
Sure.
So we said, hey, if you got any vaults that are leaking, you need to waterproof them, we can do it. Just stuff like that. So
This is the analogy of the closed mouth doesn't get fed. This is a prime example, and it's hard to, I don't know. For some, it's hard to leverage, but it is the relationship. It's just having the conversation. And if you want to eat, you got to open, you got to chew, and you got to tell people the good news that, hey, this is what we do, this is who we are, and you should be using us. And so that is one strength Jeremy comes with, is just the relationship guy. Hey, yeah, I know that guy. Yep. Hey, hold on, let me make a phone call. I know a guy. And so relationships are really strong and have built big businesses just because of having the conversation. So
I'd say that's a reason I was drawn to the industry. Originally, when we first started talking, you'd mentioned, well, in a world where everyone is going remote, everyone is at a computer screen, et cetera, our salespeople in our municipalities, our engineers still enjoy a face-to-face interaction. That's just where it is. And honestly, this table and everything going on in this building, we're not trying to change that. Because there's so much connection, there's so much effectiveness in that space that we're finding, and I assume others are as well. But there's so much more to be had from that perspective than crunching numbers, estimating, and just getting low dollar from a computer screen. Obviously, there's times in applications for that, but just to hear that that's super prevalent on the S&S side. I know it's super prevalent on the ART side. We send out men and women all throughout our giant territory each and every week and say, go meet people. That's super cool to hear, super cool to know. Young guys and gals that may have a gift of gab might understand that, man, I don't really love sitting still, but I don't have calluses on my hands either. Sales might be the spot, right?
Yeah. So we've talked a little bit about, a lot about the positives of construction. What's a challenge that you face? I mean,
Loaded question.
Yeah, well,
Loaded. Go wherever you want with that
let
one.
me.
Jeez, Pete.
Let me.
Putting on my pants in the morning.
yeah,
Getting on my knees.
I'm not talking age stuff here, Cole. What I'm talking about. Is you. I guess you sparked the question, Cole, when you were talking about the sales side of things and face-to-face stuff. It's not easy. On a construction site, it's not easy. It's not easy to find the right person, and it's not even easy to find the right person on the right job site.
right.
So that's what made me think, okay, well, there are challenges here. It's not all just fun and games. If you can talk, you can sell. That's not the truth, because you also have to be good at finding the right person at the right place. So is that a challenge for you guys, and how are you combating that in your relationship building?
It is, and we battle that on a regular basis, making sure the right guys are on the right crews. We have a pretty good sized job in Fort Wayne that we've had, 8 or 9 guys together for about 2 years, and this job is coming to an end hopefully in a couple weeks, and we're going to kind of spread them up just so you can take a deep breath and kind of get away, because we see our buddies at work more than we see our families. That's just the way it is. I mean, you get up at 5, you get home at 7. I mean, if you have kids, your kids are going to bed by 9 o'clock. You get 2 hours with them, right? So that's a challenge. Dealing with the public has got to be one of the biggest problems too, because people
Get out of my yard.
It's funny because it seems like everything we talk about happened today. I had a call today about a sinkhole on a job we're doing, and we took care of the problem. And the foreman says, I didn't even say anything, and the guy went off the handle. So he calls in, wants to talk to me. I literally told the guy, it says, they're paving next week. It'll be taken care of. And he goes, if you're going to get smart with me, I'll call the commissioners. I said, I'm not getting smart with you. Stuff like that. Stuff we don't need to deal with. That's the not fun side of it. Or the people, we have a job we did a couple years ago that they wanted a 60-foot bore. Next thing you know, we bail them out. I mean, we're helping this guy get what he needs done. And they come back to us and say, we didn't put in a meter pit. I didn't know they needed a meter pit. So they didn't pay us our $50,000 that we ended up doing. and we get a letter from their attorney. That's the stuff that are the downfalls that I think of.
Mm-hmm.
But that's me now because I have to sit in here and don't get to deal with the workers on the job.
Yeah. And well, we see it on all sides of the companies too. So ART faced a similar situation where one of our guys drove through a lady's yard and she reached out and email got sent around to everybody. Essentially, we just sent the project manager back out to reseed the yard. She had made a post on Google about it, and that's how we kind of found out about the whole thing and also emailed in. But we were like, well, what do we do in this situation? That's, where I came in. I was like, well, do we need to go back onto Google and say, we'll take care of it? So what we did is we took care of it first, and then I waited a day to see if she was going to go back on and fix her Google review, and she did. And so a lot of times it's as simple as that. They want to be heard. Mm-hmm. And fortunately or unfortunately for you now, you are the ear for that. I think in that scenario, she had like 3 or 4 ears they got to hear. But regardless, take care of those people. And I think a lot of times it just comes down to the communication aspect. Had we maybe talked to them ahead of time about, hey, we need to get to this easement, even though we have right away to it to do the work that we do, even just letting them know. And I think there was just a bit of miscommunication there and fixed it all up, and we're good to go now.
Speaking of communication, that is another difficult topic. Jeez.
Just across the board, that was kind of loaded too. Why didn't you give him a hard time?
I was
give
waiting.
him a hard time.
I thought he was gonna keep talking.
Is it hard for you to answer the phone, or is it hard? Where were you at, Cole, on that?
I thought he was gonna keep talking.
Sometimes we think we hit the mark on communication and we don't, and so it's hard because some people like the long explanation, some people want the short explanation, some people want things delivered a certain way, their visual, their audio, like. It's hard to figure out how, when you have 8, 9 crews out there running, all of them run differently. No 2 people out there that you lead are running the exact same system of how they like to get information. And and then when you add the public aspect, because we are always dealing with public, everything we do until we get to a site job, then that 10 acres is yours, and you can kind of mold it to whatever you're trying to make out of that site. So you don't have that public interference part. But
unless you're doing a data center in Ohio, you might have some public participation on that.
Well, that's usually on social media, so you can that's just noise.
Yeah,
could be a fish farm too.
Yeah, fish farm.
Yeah.
But you get a lot of sidewalk superintendents out there, and they love to have an opinion. And we get it; it's their property. And they own it, and we're going to do our best we can to get it back to the original or better
than what it was.
Yeah. But construction has to destruct before it can reconstruct, and sometimes it does get worse before it can get better.
Well, and I guess going back to the full circle moment here, where we started in the trenchless world is a much easier way to put utilities in the ground without tearing everybody's yards up. So if they're out there and they're pipe bursting or pulling pipe with a drill, you should probably go thank them that you didn't just dig through their gardens, their backyards, have to move. I think the one job site I was on with you guys, I forget where that was even at now, where you guys did the pipe bursting job. Paulding, yep. And, I mean, that thing went under above ground pools and sheds and fences and gardens. And I tell you what, so if you are a homeowner and you see them out there, maybe thank first and then ask, are you going to fix it? Because they're doing their best.
Cold lemonade on a hot day is always nice, too.
Cold lemonade, warm cookies, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Another light.
Yeah. Some of those are the best. When you're working in some people's backyards, they do show up with, hey, just got these cookies out of the oven. You want one? Yeah.
Yeah. So are they the first ones that get their yard put back together? Is that how that works?
We try.
Jeremy, I got one last question for you. Honestly, I think we've covered some good stuff. Are you an open cut guy or a directional drilling guy?
I'm both.
Okay.
Well,
Switzerland.
Yeah, we work for S&S Directional Boring, so I'm a boring guy right now. But as soon as we can get this open cut dirt thing going, then we'll make it happen.
Diplomatic.
How's that
You're
sound?
pumped.
Oh, I'm ready.
Heck yeah, dude.
Yep.
You good to go? Anything else you want to cover?
No, you heard it here. We're going to start doing some site development. We're going to start doing some excavation and open cut, and it doesn't necessarily make. We're not going to do a whole rebrand, Lee. So don't worry. The marketing is still on point. We're just gonna add, and we're gonna continue to build and grow and do what we do and grow people. And growing people will build the company. So excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, so we'll put some information for S&S down in the description of this podcast. I won't put your contact info, Jeremy, on this one. They can find you if they want to find you. But thank you, Jeremy, for joining us at the table today. Appreciate having you.
Yep. Thank you.
See you next time at the Trench Sometimes table.